Hey guys, welcome back to Yee-Haw, a Bonanza podcast. I am your host, Melissa, and today we are watching Season 1, Episode 25, Escape to Ponderosa. I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of a miracle I'm recording this right now. We have so much family in town at the moment, and I have even more family coming this Friday. It's currently Wednesday, May 28th, and life is just not slowing down anytime soon for me. And you know what? That's okay. Because having family in town is great. It just minimizes the time I can put into this podcast. On top of that, I've also recently started a new job. I started a new position at the very beginning of this month. And just like the correlation of all of this family coming in and then starting the new job. And then I'm going to California this weekend as well for something else, and it's just been a lot, and I personally didn't expect all of this within the span of a month. So I am happy to be here today recording yet another Bonanza episode, so I'm grateful that I could make time for this. Also, this is random, but I really want to see the new Mission Impossible movie. It came out last weekend, I believe, and I've been asking so many of my family members, let's go see this, let's go see this. And it's just been so chaotic. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to, but I love those movies and they're wildly entertaining. So I'm trying to find time to do that as well. So you know you're busy when you can't even make time to go see a movie in the theater. Anyway, we're going to watch Escape to Ponderosa today. So I hope you guys have your copy of the episode pulled up and let's read some details on this one. Escape to Ponderosa. This episode was written by Robert E. Thompson, Bill Barrett, and Malcolm Stewart Boylan. Big name. It was directed by Charles F. Haas. It premiered March 5th, 1960. And it doesn't have a listed guest star this week, and they go back and forth on this, and I think one of the reasons they did this is because they had, once again, so many characters in this episode, it's hard to designate who would be the guest star if there was a guest star that you had to pick. Anyway, the cast/actors that appeared in this episode were Joe Maross, Gloria Talbott, Grant Williams, Chris Alcaide, Dayton Lummis, James Parnell, and Sherwood Price. I don't know who the guest star is of this episode. The episode doesn't know it either, so we don't really have any details on a specific person today. The episode description is, the Cartwrights rally together to help look for 3 army prisoners hiding on their land after stealing Adam's gun and seeking refuge on the Ponderosa. They also beat the crap out of Adam, but the episode description doesn't include that. What am I forgetting here? Oh, okay. I started a new disc on the box set this week, and there was a special feature on David Dortort talking about Victor Sen Young. And basically, to sum it up, he talked a little bit about the Chinese and the contract laborers that existed in 1848 during the gold rush and how they came in during that time. But the best part of that interview with David Dortort is how he talked about Hop Sing being the 6th member of the Cartwright family, because as David Dortort put it, the main members of the family are obviously Ben, Adam, Hoss, Little Joe, and then he said Hop Sing is the 5th family member and the 6th family member is the Ponderosa itself. So I thought that was so cute and so wholesome, and he just talked about how Hop Sing was such an integral part of the show and how Victor Sen Young was like super devoted, super enthusiastic, and up for anything when filming the show. And he also mentioned that I think he said his favorite episode with Hop Sing is the one where Ben gets shanghaied in San Francisco. Can't think of the episode name right now, but somebody will let me know in the comments, I'm sure, when I post this episode on YouTube. But it was really sweet. It was really sweet the way David Dortort talked about Victor Sen Young, and he was just so devoted to the role, and he was definitely the 5th family member of the Cartwright clan. And it was very wholesome, warmed my heart. And I would have to agree. In many ways, I think that Hop Sing's like the surrogate mother. He gets so wigged out by their shenanigans. It really makes me think about, it would have been so cute to see the early days of the Ponderosa where Hop Sing first came in, watching the boys grow up, how exasperated he must have gotten just from their situations. I really wish Bonanza gave us a flashback episode delving into Hop Sing's arrival on the Ponderosa, like when he came into their family. I would have loved to see that. But anyway, other than that cute little interview with David Dortort, there was also an episodic promo on Escape to Ponderosa, and there was a pretty decent photo gallery. So let me pull up those pictures on my phone. Okay, there's definitely, who is this? There's a cute picture of Dan Blocker. That's not his wife, is it? I don't think it is. I don't want to get this wrong, but there's Dan Blocker and a very nice looking woman, and she's sitting on his lap and they're laughing. Is that his wife? I'm not sure. They don't give captions in these images, which is kind of frustrating. Like, they don't describe who's who. And I wish that they did on the box set, but I also understand that's a bajillion photos to go through, and that would also be a massive pain in the butt, so it's whatever. There's also a cute picture of Gloria Talbott in a very nice dress. Her hair is super cute. I love her hair. There are some pictures of Dan and Gloria together. It's actually such a cute picture. It's like Dan sitting in a chair. He's holding his hat. He's like in a very straight, upright position, and then Gloria has her hands on his shoulders. It looks like a portrait, you know, like one of those wedding portraits people would get commissioned. And then there's Michael Landon photobombing it, where he just kind of like is laying on the ground in front of them. So that's also super cute. More pictures of Dan and Gloria between takes, just chatting. And then you have Michael, Dan, and Gloria in the barn during the final act. So there's only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pictures, but they're cute. I love these little looks into the behind the scenes of the episodes. It's just like nice to see people being people and doing fun things and enjoying each other's company. Pull up your copy of the episode and let's get into it. Let's see what Cartwright shenanigans await us today in Escape to Ponderosa. We are hitting play in 3, 2, 1, go. I love that jacket on Michael Landon. That might be one of my favorite jackets he wears in the entire show. It's so stylish. I'm not a fan of the ascot, though. Not a big fan of ascots over here. I've been working on the railroad is what he should sing. I like this because the sound doesn't match with the environment that they're in, because this is clearly filmed in a studio, and then Parnell is very clearly outside, so like the sound difference doesn't quite match. I ain't seen a girl in years, Jimmy, or whatever his name is. No! And then they proceed to beat the crap out of him, which, in my opinion, Ben needed to be way angrier about in this episode. But for some reason, I don't know, he starts off mad and then he gets like kind of chill and then sides with treating the criminals fairly, which I think is like a weird reaction to have when your son has had the crap beat out of him. But we'll get into that. And as you can see, we have a lack of guest star. I still don't know why this episode's called Escape to Ponderosa. Because technically they didn't do any escaping there. It's a great opening scene. Joe is such a jerk for this, though. I would strangle him. Because these are such a pain to do. You know what? Casting Michael Landon was just such a good choice because he has the mischievous look of the youngest brother. Like, he's 22, 23 here in real life at the time. But it's like, you would believe he's 17, 18. He's just got the boyish look and the mischievous facial expressions of a youngest brother. Yeah, guys, marry Miss Netta. She's a handsome woman. I like they're trying to scare Joe with marriage. But I'll go and kiss as many girls as I possibly have the opportunity to. The layout of Ben's office is interesting here because it definitely evolved, like many other things in Bonanza. Like, the window is behind the desk, if I remember this correctly, in later seasons, and it's smaller, if my memory serves me right. And also, like, the oh my god, like the rock wall that they have, the gray rock wall they have in the house that eventually shifted to wood, like how the outside looks in later episodes as well. So, it's coffee, not alcohol. One of the best things about this scene is how Ben starts off very hospitable, and then he immediately changes his demeanor the second he realizes the way this guy is. Like this. I love this. It's just so great because Ben starts off very warm and kind. And the second this guy starts accusing him of stuff, Ben asserts himself and he's like, nope, I'm in charge here. Oh, gosh. Firm and assertive Ben Cartwright. They beat the crap out of Adam. That looks painful. They're all so cute. It's like when Joe gets beat up and they all flock over to him like a bunch of little like ducklings. It's so sweet. It's same concept here. That gash looks really bad though. Pretty painful. Hell yeah. This is such a great aspect about Ben Cartwright. Oh, man. We love a strong patriarch of the household. And what the hell? Jimmy and his goons beat the crap out of Adam, and then Jimmy takes his jacket? The nerve of this guy. It would have been interesting if Jimmy had worked for the Cartwrights instead, because initially I thought that's what he was talking about. Would add more stakes, anyway, to this episode. Jack Lord could have played Jimmy Sutton. I don't know why I thought of that. Maybe it's because Jimmy's hair looks very similarly to Jack Lord's. Only Jack Lord's is more fabulous. You know what? Thinking about it right now, they're in this episode they try to paint Paul Tyler's character, like the character of Paul Tyler, as though he's like this moral guy with convictions and he's gentle and he like cares for the animals and he protects Ben Cartwright, but like he still contributed to beating the crap out of Adam. So I'm like, no, I don't have sympathy for you. You attacked an innocent guy and you hurt him. But then they want you to feel empathy for him at the end because he's like the only person who won't go through with the plan. I don't know. I just thought those were some conflicting things in the episode. God, I love that jacket. I will never shut up about the navy checkered Joe Cartwright jacket. Ben's annoyed facial expression when Bolton said that was great. Terrible plan from Mertz, or whatever his name is. Did not think this through. Kind of a weird way to stop his punch. What? I didn't I didn't love this idea for the plot. I don't love the plot of this episode. Generally speaking, it's very similar to Desert Justice. You know, it almost feels like it's not exactly the same, but it's an extremely similar plot line. But like that guy did beat up Adam, almost killed him, and he did try to escape. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just not a plan. Buh. I think I'm not a fan of the plot. I just didn't think it was that engaging. I didn't think it was particularly well written. I didn't care that much about any of these characters. And I feel like more often than not, this episode focuses on the extended cast, like characters like Jimmy Sutton, Paul Tyler, the Bolton guy, rather than the Cartwrights themselves. And I don't think they were interesting enough to like be on the level of the Cartwrights. You know what I would have I don't love that dialogue. You make a big fuss over horses. I sometimes prefer them to people. You know what I would have really liked is if in the beginning, if you really wanted to establish Paul Tyler as a compassionate person who's in over his head, like what you could have done is you could have had Jimmy and Mertz beat the crap out of Adam, and then they're going to leave him for dead or something. And then Paul, like you could do like a good Samaritan thing where Paul stays behind, kind of takes care of Adam. And then the Cartwrights and the army soldiers find Adam. Adam's like too injured to like speak. They take him, get him back, put him to bed, all this kind of stuff. And then later near the end of the episode, when Paul Tyler's life hangs in the balance, you could have this thing of Adam being like, this guy literally saved my life. Something like that. If you wanted to establish, quote, the goodness of Paul Tyler's character. But it's like, oh no, he's just nurturing towards animals and he's falling in love with Netta, so that must make him a good person. And excuse the fact that he participated in the beating up of Adam at the beginning. I don't know. I just don't think that they built up what they wanted, how they wanted the audience to feel about Paul Tyler. Because I like him, but it would have been better if, like, you know, Adam gets hurt and you see his compassion for another human being. Did he have to do that? Like, if that was me, I'd freak out. Now, this sequence is great because at least 3 times, Paul Tyler looks so uncomfortable watching them make out, where he, like, almost leaves the barn. Like, here, 3 times. And then they're like, no, come back in. He just seems so uncomfortable in this scene. Grant Williams as Paul Tyler is really cute, though. I'll give him that. He's a cutie. But they could have made Tyler's character the lead, maybe along with Bolton. Maybe it's about these 2 guys and, you know, not having the whole story of this situation. You could make... Here he goes, trying to leave again. You can make Mertz and Jimmy like the morally corruptible characters, and then Tyler the one with integrity. But the episode never really explores that enough, in my opinion. Look at Tyler. He looks so uncomfortable. He is third wheeling so hard. It's his 3rd time attempting to leave. Oh my gosh. Poor guy. He couldn't take watching them make out. Hey, why are they breathing so hard? Oh my goodness. Anyway. Like, if you think about it, this, was he Corporal? Is that what he called him? He's an extra character. Like, they could have done something with this guy, but they didn't. And instead, what happens, once again, is they introduce too many characters, and they don't give any of these characters enough development for us to care about them, instead of, like, bringing in maybe 2 or 3 and then making us really, really, really care about them. It just, in a lot of these season 1 episodes, they're just a little messy. And they're trying to do too much. And I've reiterated this many times in past episodes, but it's just like it's really become a reoccurring theme as we near the end of season 1. Too many characters, not enough development, very similar plots. This feels weird to me because they beat the crap out of Adam. like, like this is a very Ben Cartwright, I have integrity moment, but maybe it would be a better moment if it didn't include the fact that these men beat up Adam and almost killed him. And he's kind of involving himself in an issue that he doesn't fully understand. Like, he doesn't like the Bolton guy. But to be fair, that moment where Bolton fired at Mertz wasn't that extreme. It's like, yeah, he's a prisoner and he's trying to escape and he got hostile. So it makes sense that he pulled out his gun. It's like, is Ben overstepping himself a little bit? My biggest issue is just the fact that Adam got beat up. And Ben's like, okay, that's fine, but we should still defend these men. Because I'm like, hey, man, if that was my kid, if my kid got the crap beat out of him, I'd be like, no, absolutely not. And you know what? They never explain why they let Adam live. If you really think about it, it's like, okay, so they like throw the chain around Adam's neck, they beat the crap out of him, and then the army soldiers find him? Like, maybe we needed more context for like them actually beating up Adam. Like, maybe the next scene after the opening title cards of Bonanza could have been them arguing about whether or not to kill him. Because I think Adam says when Bolton is interrogating him after he gets beat up, he's like, they were talking about whether or not to kill me. And it's like, okay, well, can we see why they chose not to kill you? Like, could we have had a moment where Paul Tyler's like, no, I'm not killing this guy. I'm not getting in any more trouble. Netta reminds me an awful lot of Amanda from Desert Justice. You know, same kind of gullible, naive vibes. Like, she's a little stupid. you know, she didn't get on my nerves half as much as Amanda did in Desert Justice, but the characters are, again, they're very similar. Is it me you're looking for? Like that. It would be nice to see one of these female characters be like, I'm not standing for this, or at least like stand up for themselves and not be as gullible or susceptible to their emotions. But she just kind of falls into like the same trope as other female characters we've seen so far. I'm just a naive, innocent girl. I'm the living embodiment of gullible. Now, this is interesting. If you look at the placement of the bandage on Adam's head, I don't think it matches up with where his wound was, because it was a little bit above his eyebrow, like the gash was, like a little bit above his eye. It wasn't really like on his upper forehead, but the bandage is covering his upper forehead, which is not where the gash was. But it's whatever. It's a minor detail. Now, how great would this scene have been if Adam was talking to Ben and he's like, look, there was a guy who tried to save me. He tried to save my life. Like, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them is not who Bolton is making him out to be. And then Adam could have gone with and pointed that guy out, you know? Like, I just think they could have done something much more compelling. A good Samaritan plot would have been so great. Especially because I do think Grant Williams as Tyler is very likable. Like, he's got a sweet face. Instead of having this scene with the horse. Like, I don't know. It's just it's like, see, he cares for animals. And that makes him a good person. It's like, no, having him care for another person in a time of need would make him a good person. But just because he's petting a young calf that can't walk yet doesn't mean he's this morally sound human being. I guess, if nothing else, this scene is Netta's chance to fall in love with Tyler. Oh, hello. I'm not. I'm not either. uh. She saw your open shirt. It's over, dude. Like, this would have been such a better scene if we saw him caring for Adam in the beginning. And then Ben comes in and they beat up Ben. And then Tyler's like, no, I'm not going to kill this guy because that's wrong. And then Ben realizes, oh my gosh. And then you can create this compassion for Tyler. It's like, ah! Oh my gosh. We could have had it all. Jimmy needs to take off Adam's jacket. That doesn't belong to you. Oh, now it's an army matter. Now it's not your problem. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. I'm very interested to hear everybody's opinions of this episode. Because I just don't feel any interest in any of these extra characters. Gorgeous outside shots. Now, the most frustrating thing about this scene is that Ben doesn't open with, hey, I have their army tags. Like, he's like, search them. And instead of explaining, Ben just kind of allows himself to be taken. Ben's like, okay. Que sera, sera. Not this again. Girl, please. It's literally been a day. I saw you shirtless and that completely changed my mind. Haas. He's just smiling and watching this whole thing happen. Ah, why are we putting the energy towards the horse? Oh my goodness. I'm probably being really obnoxious about this now, but how much more effective would it have been if he helped Adam? And then Hoss comes over and he's like, why did you save my brother? And he's like, because I couldn't let an innocent man die. Like, oh my gosh. Huge missed opportunity. And maybe this is the hot take, but if they had done the story where Tyler saves Adam and he then saves Ben, in the end, he could die saving Netta, and I think that would have been really, really, really compelling. Because he would have been a good man who was running away, but who was still doing the right thing by caring for other innocent people. And then the audience would feel, a lot of sadness and remorse for the fact that Tyler died because he did good things, which was like saving people despite running away from the army. Oh my goodness. Now I'm frustrated that they didn't do that. Oh my gosh, that would have been so good. And it would have been painful to see him die at the end, which they don't do in this episode, but in my opinion, they should have. And it just would have had that much more of an effect on the audience. My gosh. And that way we don't have to deal with like the stupid cult. Friend. He goes, friend, pal, buddy. Ooh. Hoss can be so scary. So cold. Oh, what's the line he has in the episode? The lawmaker. It's when Adam gets beat up. He gets hit over the head with a gun. He's in the jail. And Hoss and Little Joe want to go in the jail to bust Adam out. And Ben's like, no, don't do that. Adam goes in and he gets the crap beat out of him by the stand-in sheriff, Asa. And then Hoss and Little Joe burst through the door and Hoss goes, Asa, you pull that trigger and I'll kill you. And it's just like the coldest, most like stone-faced line from Hoss. And you're like, gosh darn it. Like for a gentle and sweet and wholesome a character, it's like if you piss him off, he can be super scary. Rest in pieces, Jimmy. It's been a day. No, you don't. You don't love him. It's infatuation, sweetheart. Because I know he was super sexy when he was taking care of the colt, but you don't love him. How is Jimmy alive? He got shot twice. How was Jimmy alive? They just they just took Ben prisoner for interfering with army business and now they're taking orders from him? What? Okay. Oh my gosh. That was such a lazy ending. Like, they did not tie anything together. They were just like, well, it's concluded now since Bolton and Jimmy are dead. Even though they were taking Ben prisoner for interfering with army business. And no lessons were learned here. What even was the lesson of that one? Like, don't interfere with army business. Sometimes people in the army abuse their power. Like, what was the message of that episode? You could have done a don't judge by a book by its cover theme with the character of Paul Tyler, but they didn't even go into that. What a strange episode. So strange. Well, I think it's fair to say I didn't like that one very much. I have no idea what this episode was trying to say. No characters really stood out to me. I explained earlier that they had an opportunity with the character of Paul Tyler, having him care for Adam when Adam got hurt, having him care for Ben when Ben's life was in danger, and then killing him at the end when he tries to save Netta would have been very compelling. And maybe Bolton lives. Maybe the bad guy lives. And then the audience is just kind of left to grapple with that. Like, sometimes bad people do bad things, and there's nothing you can do. I don't know. They could have... they just didn't make a lot of choices in this one. In a lot of these season 1 episodes, they don't make active character choices. Anyway, it was easy to see why there was no guest star of this episode. There were so many characters. I'm trying to pick a favorite moment if I had any. I love the protectiveness of the Cartwright family when Adam gets hurt. Same situation with Little Joe. Little Joe gets beat up. They all flock around him. Adam gets beat up. They all flock around him. It's very sweet. I love the loyalty. I love Ben's assertiveness in the beginning and his personality change when he realizes that Bolton is going to be problematic. But I do not understand that Ben would be so quick to defend these criminals, like these men that beat up his son. Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. So I was a little confused about that, and I don't think like the moment where he realizes that Bolton is this terrible man was like a big enough moment, because Mertz was trying to escape and Bolton pulled his gun, and it kind of made sense to me. So I don't understand like that being the moment that Ben's like, this guy isn't a good person. Anyway, it's whatever. I think the ending was lazy. I think it was summed up way too quick. I don't even know what we were supposed to take away from that. You have Ben's army friend character. Why didn't they do anything with him? Like, he appeared once and that was it for the entire episode. So did they even really need him? This episode was really dialogue heavy, especially between Netta, Jimmy, and Paul. And I'm not sure why. And in a lot of respects, it felt like the episode was more focused on Netta, Jimmy, and Paul than it was like the actual Cartwrights. And I didn't love that. And a lot of the dialogue I felt like didn't move the story forward. It just felt like extra dialogue. Didn't love any of the characters. The story did feel like a repeat of previous episodes, especially Desert Justice. Kind of similar to the episode The Outcast as well. There's a lot of repeat episodes in season 1 with very, very slight differences. But it's usually involves somebody like out for vengeance and like having to control their taste for vengeance, or they get so consumed by their vengeance, and you kind of see that like now it's getting super repeated and maybe a little bit abused. But overall, I have to say I probably wouldn't watch this one again. I found it to be very bland. I wanted more of the Cartwrights. You could put more of a focus on Paul Tyler and tell a really interesting story with him, but again, season 1 suffers from the too many characters, not enough development issue. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the episode. I don't think I have too much more to say. What do you guys think of this one? What's your opinion of the story? Would you have liked to see them do something more with Paul Tyler's character? Or maybe you would have liked to see them do something else with a different character, maybe Ben's army friend. But I think they had another missed opportunity here. You could have told a really compelling story about Paul Tyler's, morality, despite the fact that he's like a deserter and he ran away from the army. Like, does that make him a terrible person? Like, you could have explored that in his actions with how he, could have taken care of Adam or taken care of Ben, taken care of Netta, etc., etc. I want to hear all your thoughts. Drop a comment if you're watching this on my YouTube channel. Always interested to hear what you guys think. I'm so happy I was able to get this episode recorded. My life has been so hectic lately, and hopefully it'll slow down so I can continue getting these podcast episodes out. But I'm really glad I was able to sit down and record this one today. Even if the episode wasn't my favorite, it doesn't matter. It's more Bonanza, and that is all that matters. What are we watching next week? Escape to Ponderosa, IMDB. We are watching... The Avenger. This is the one... Oh, this is the one where they're going to hang Ben and Adam. Oh, I vaguely remember this. Oh, wait. There's a really good scene, I think, in this episode with Hoss and Little Joe, and they take a guy and they, like, shove him into, like, a wooden container or something. I don't fully remember, but I think that scene is in this upcoming episode. So make sure next time you tune in for The Avenger, and hopefully we'll have a much better time watching that. But until then, you guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you're excited for summer officially starting. And I will see you in the next episode. Have a great day, guys.